I hear a lot of conversations about goals and how goal setting is something that someone doesn't like to do because it sets them up for failure or it feels like they're disappointing themselves when they don't achieve the goal. And they'd rather just be happy every day in the moment. And I absolutely agree with I'd rather be happy every day in the moment. And I think there's still a place for having a goal that lets you see the bigger picture that your life is moving towards and gets a chance to kind of step back from the day to day motions that we're in to make sure that the path we're on and those things that we're doing each and every day are actually taking us in the direction that we want to go. So I'm going to share with you in this video how to set goals for success. I'm going to share some slides to just kind of help along, but we'll do some talking through this process as well. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. I am a life and mindset coach that has been living my own journey of personal growth and development for about 20 years, maybe a little bit more at this point. And one of the things that I really appreciate is how unique each and every one of our journeys are. And I think it's important to make sure that the success we're creating is what we actually want for our own lives and not just what looks good from the outside. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to talk about how to set goals for success and really setting goals that align with your life and values. And of course, I'm Sarah, if we haven't met yet. We're going to talk about how to get clear on where you are today. And we will go over how to choose one specific area that you're focused on so that when you're first starting this goal setting process, you're not dividing your attention into many different areas. And I know that we all live very busy lives. I think that when we can slow down, even if it's just for a few minutes, and get really clear on one thing that we want to focus on, we start to build our capacity for being able to tune in to what actually matters to us and not just responding to the world outside. So we're going to take that one focus area and turn it into one small specific action and work on also letting go of the pressure that often is felt around, I have to do it now. That's a big part of what was important to me when I started being part of coaching groups and getting mentorship from people that I wanted to learn from, and has translated into the work that I do as a coach as well, is making sure that I am constantly being reminded to let go of that pressure to do it all right away, because I felt like I was on this hamster wheel and just running through the motions of my life. And I wasn't really able to slow down and really experience a lot of the things that I cared about and wanted to enjoy. So that's been a big part of the work that I do and is something that I help the clients and people that I work with do as well. So when I think about why most goals don't work, it's usually because of one of these things on this list. They're either too vague, or the belief that you have about the goal is that it's not really possible. So you're kind of setting yourself up for failure in the beginning because you don't see how you can achieve it. Then it's going to be very difficult and nearly impossible to make it come true. And then when we focus on the results that we can't control, again, it can be really disheartening when we're trying to manipulate or control things that we literally cannot control. So I think it's also been a really big lesson for me to learn that it's not just about having willpower and having discipline to do the thing over and over again, but it is about creating structure and support so that I can allow my life to be in the flow. That was my focus word for this past year, was being in the flow and really creating that structure and the support systems with regards to my tech and my lifestyle and my environment and the people and the places that I am investing in that build that support so that I'm able to achieve my goals in a different way than just running all the time and feeling like I always have to be working harder and harder. So when we talk about aligning your goals with your life and values, it really is about taking a look at not just what it is that you want and what this goal is, but how does it match this particular season of life that you're in? And what is your capacity at this time? Your life and your capacity is going to be very different if you are raising young children than it is if you have teenagers, or if all of your children have left the home, or if you're single and you don't have children. You know, there's a different season and a different capacity that you're going to have based on your own unique lived experience. And that can't be discounted. I think that that is kind of the mistake that happens in a lot of coaching environments and a lot of advice that we look for from other people to help us with goal setting and achieving whatever it is that we want, is that there's not a one size fits all prescription. I really do believe that it is a process to learn how to get to know yourself, learn more about yourself, and be more curious than judgmental about the current space that you're in so that you can really learn how to get the support that you need to go wherever it is you want to go. When we talk about alignment with life and values, it is about focusing on building that strong foundation so that as you continue to go through different life experiences, you have that foundation to continue building on. And that's how your capacity increases. It's how you continue to move forward in the direction that you want to go instead of just continuing to be running on that hamster wheel all the time. And when you create goals that support who you are, there's just a different feeling that goes with it. When I think about the conversations that I have with people and the light that shows up when someone is talking about the things that they love and that they genuinely enjoy, it's very different than when we're talking about something that we feel like we're supposed to know or we're supposed to be good at, but we don't really care about. So being able to support who you are and what matters to you is what's going to help you have the longevity of the consistency and continuing to go back and do the things that may be inconvenient so that you're continuing to stay in alignment with your life and values. But that's also what helps us grow and build character. And then being able to adjust what the activities are, what those goals are, so that you continue to build the lifestyle that is in alignment with, again, your life and your values, but the details may look different depending on what's happening in your life, what's happening in the world. So much of life as we knew it changed when we all went into quarantine in 2020. Many other factors that may be unique to you, but being able to adjust and stay flexible with what the how-tos are and all of the details that help you get to the goals that you have is huge. That's one of the most important things about any sort of personal development or personal growth, is recognizing that there's always going to be things that change. There's always things that are outside of our control, and regularly revisit what those commitments are. What are the things that really matter to us and those goals that we're working towards? Then you can help to pivot and get back on track when maybe things have forced you to take a few steps in a different direction. So when we talk about clarity and getting clear on any goal and how to get to where you are, you have to know where your starting point is. And I like to look at several different areas of my life and consider where I am in each of these areas now, currently, and what's working and what's not. Then that helps me understand what I need to shift and what I want to adjust in order to get to where I want to go in that particular area. So for the purposes of this video, I'd really like for you to participate here and consider in each of the 5 areas that I have listed, where are you right now? What's working and what's not? And think about what those pieces are that kind of make you feel frustrated. Rate each area on a scale of 1 to 10. I love this from a data perspective, and I know some people get really uncomfortable when they're asked to give a numerical rating to something. So if this is something that bothers you, then use some other method to determine how you say, okay, I'm really happy with this particular area of my life, or I'm like miserable and it's as bad as it has ever been. Or, I'm right in the middle. Things are completely neutral. But give yourself an opportunity to really consider where you are in each of these different areas, because it becomes information and data that we can do something with. And it's not about judgment. My own work, personally, as well as the work that I do with others, is all based around being more curious than we are critical. And that's not always easy, especially when we have habits that see all the things that are wrong and all the things that are problems in our lives. But the more we continue to focus on the things that we can get curious about and look at the information that we have, not as something that defines who we are, but that gives us information and tools that we can use moving forward, the more we're able to grow and shift in ways that aren't possible if we just stay critical and convinced that we're right about how terrible we are or how bad we're doing. So now that you have given a rating to each of those 5 areas, pick one area that you want to focus on. And maybe it's the area that you gave the lowest number if you did the 1 to 10 rating, or it's the area that's just been getting your attention lately. It seems like everything that seems like there's a problem or a focus is in that one particular area. Whatever it is that you choose to focus on, whatever one area you pick, doesn't matter near as much as the fact that you pick something. And again, when I was talking at the beginning of this video about how important it is to build the capacity for focus, I think it's Cal Newport in his book, Deep Work, where he talks about how the practice of focus is something that we don't always do very often. And when you practice and you give yourself opportunities to practice this type of focus, you build that capacity. So it's important, even if you want every area of your life to change because you're miserable in all of the areas, pick one area to start with that you're going to focus on. And what I have come to learn in my own work and working with others is that when you start to make a shift in one particular part of your life, whether it's your finances or your health or your relationships or your time, your fun or fulfillment, community, whatever it is, when you start to make changes in one area, it can start to shift all of the other areas as well, especially when you have reminders in your environment that help you see the ways that all of these things are connected and recognize and identify patterns of how you're showing up in all of these different areas of your life. So choose one area that you're going to focus on, and then we're going to go just a little bit deeper. So you're going to identify what it is that you don't want. What are the things that frustrate you in that particular area of your life, or what feels draining? Maybe it's that you feel like you never have time to cook a healthy meal and you're picking up takeout on a regular basis. And you just feel like the food that you're eating isn't nutritious and you feel, tired and lethargic after eating instead of energized and ready to take on the rest of your day. And what is it that you want instead? Maybe that you want to feel energy. You want to feel like you have the stamina to do the things that you enjoy throughout your day and participate in activities at the end of the workday instead of crashing. Whether it's your finances that, you're frustrated with the fact that you feel like you're constantly checking your bank account to see if you have the money for a particular thing that you want, or if you're going to have the money to pay the bills that you need to take care of for your household. What feels draining? What is it that you want instead? Maybe it's the freedom to know that your living expenses are taken care of and that you have a clear understanding of what money is available for those spontaneous purchases that you'd like to be able to make without the added stress of trying to figure out whether it's going to negatively impact another type of responsibility that you have with your finances. So when you have that one focus area defined, and then you start to think about what are the things that frustrate you and feel draining, and what is it that you want instead, you're moving from the reaction of this place of feeling like there's a problem, there's something that you don't enjoy, there's something that you don't want to continue. And instead of just staying in that mindset and that frame of reference where it's easy to feel hopeless and like, there isn't anything that you can control because you may have this goal to get healthier or to get out of debt or whatever that thing is, but not have a clear understanding of how to get there. And often that's because we're staying so focused on the problem that we're not actually open to the ways that there are solutions available to us. So moving from that reaction of the problem is the problem and all of the criticism that comes with that, instead moving to here's what my intention is, here's what it is that I would like to do instead. And now when we talk about result goals versus activity goals, when you think about what is that outcome or the result that you actually want, if it is that you want to feel the energy of someone who feels healthy and strong and capable of moving through their day, or the result is that you want to have the freedom of cash flow to be able to take care of your living expenses and still have money for the spontaneous things that you'd like to be able to buy. Those are result goals. Let's say that you have a specific amount of money that you feel like is connected to that result goal that you want. or you have a specific metric that you feel like would allow you to have that desired result as far as your health goes. But you want to determine not just what is that result goal that you're going for, but what are the activity goals that support it? So, what are the specific actions or behaviors that will help you get that result? And what can you actually do right now? Maybe the outcome or result that you want is to be healthier, but the specific actions are looking at the foods that you're eating. Maybe it starts with just capturing what are the foods that you eat on a daily basis? What is the movement that you participate in on a weekly basis? And what actions or behaviors will help you get the result that you desire? Maybe it's doing a meal plan, or it's even making a decision that for a certain number of days, you're going to have a salad for lunch or swap out your breakfast takeout on the way to work for an oatmeal that you make at home, but something that you are able to do now. And this is where the flexibility really comes in, because when we are looking at the activity goals that will help us get to the result goals, I know one of the big challenges that I often faced was wanting to know, like, okay, but if I eat oatmeal every morning for breakfast, at some point I'm going to get tired of the oatmeal, or the oatmeal may stop giving me the positive benefits that I had before. But the key is to just look at what can you do right now and trust that, like we talked about with capacity, you're building capacity, you're building awareness, you're building skills by focusing on what can you do right now, so that as you've identified where you are in this current situation that you want to change, and you're looking at this result that you have out here that you want to, or here's the result that you want to create, what is the one little step that you can take right now that will start to get you a little bit closer towards that thing that you desire? And this is where this one small step comes in. You're going to make one small action, or write down one small action that you can take this week. So being really specific and time bound. So instead of something vague, like I'm going to eat healthier, be much more specific and say, for lunch every day, instead of going to get takeout from the restaurant that I normally get takeout, I'm going to make a salad every day. Or I'm going to go to this other restaurant. Instead of getting the fried chicken sandwich and French fries, I'm going to go to this other restaurant and get a salad instead. What is the specific thing that you will do? And what does it look like for you to have successfully achieved that action, so that you have a really clear and specific step that you know you are taking, that you believe is going to get you a little bit closer towards that goal you have of improving your health? And now, how do we make it stick? Pairing your activities with your current habits is huge. One of the reasons why we do the same things over and over again is because they've just become so automatic that we don't even think about a lot of the actions that we take. So when you are able to pair a new habit or a new activity with something that you already do on a regular basis, it's much more likely to stick. If you're somebody who uses a calendar to run their life like I do, then putting that thing that you're going to do on the calendar is more likely to make it stick. I literally have time on my calendar every week to cook and meal plan, because I know that that's an important part of me staying healthy physically, but also mentally. It helps me to maintain the capacity that I need in order to work full time and run a business, in order to have the energy to do the things that I want to be involved in and have time for the social activities that I want to participate in. It's important that I make my health a priority. So I schedule time for making sure that I can nourish my body well. Reviewing regularly, what are you doing? Looking at those daily actions that you've taken. And again, remembering that when you're curious instead of critical about what you didn't do, you can recognize that, okay, maybe I went and got the takeout fried chicken sandwich instead of the salad. Why? Is it because it was going to take too much time to go get the salad for lunch and the chicken sandwich seemed like a faster solution? Is there something that I can do differently tomorrow or next week that would make that choice that I have determined would be better, a better fit for the goal that I have? How can I make that easier? So you're continuing to look at what it is that you have actually done and learn from it, so that you can make a shift going forward. And realizing that this doesn't always happen quickly or as quickly as we think it's going to happen. Maybe you want to make all of these changes every single day, and you realize after you've looked back over a week that you made an impact, or you met your goal, or met your desired behavior or action maybe 4 days out of 7. And that's something to celebrate. Even if your initial goal was 7 days, if you met the requirements that you set for yourself 4 days, that's something to celebrate, because now you know for the next week that you can maintain 4 days, or maybe you push it up to trying for 5. But you're looking at what worked and what didn't work so that you can use that information to learn more about yourself and how to, again, we're setting goals and creating actions and behaviors that work with your life, not just for somebody else's. So having accountability is a big benefit in this as well. Whether it's looking at a video like this, where you're learning the process that someone else has used and trying to implement it into your own life, whether it's a friend or a buddy that starts to help share their own goals with you. Maybe you make a pact to go on a walk with a friend a couple times a week, or maybe meet for a salad instead of the rich or heavy takeout meal that you would normally go to together. But whatever it is that you're doing, when you have someone else to help you not only stay accountable to the goals that you've set, but also recognize when those old patterns or old habits are keeping you in the same loop that's so familiar to you that it's not always easy to see. And this is where I've seen a lot of benefits working with coaches and having people that were more neutral than my friends and family that could show me something, and I didn't have the relationship bias that I might have with some people that have been closer to me or had a different type of relationship with. So these types of support communities can be really helpful, and there's lots of ways to do this now, whether it is in person or virtually. And this is one of the things that I enjoy in working with people, is being able to support their process to be more accountable to themselves and their goals. Once we define a goal, helping you to create the process, not just of achieving your goal, but learning to trust yourself as you go through all of those steps to not just define what the goal is, but what are those actions and behaviors that are going to support you? And how do you look at all those steps you're taking with more curiosity and less judgment, so that you're having more of those moments every single day where you enjoy the life that you're living. And when you zoom back out and you look at the direction you're going, you're happy with the decisions that you've made and the direction that they're taking you. So progress happens faster when we're having fun. And I think that that's a big part of accountability and the coaching models and the support that we can get from other people in our lives. So that's all for now. I want to thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I would love to hear if something resonated with you. Please share something in the comments, and would love to have a conversation. And I want you to walk away from this remembering that one small intentional step will get you closer to the change that you want. Have a great day.